Good morning, Jennifer. How are you doing today?
Good morning. I'm doing well.
Fantastic. Now, I know that I know who you are, but if you could introduce yourself for me, that would be fantastic.
Well, my name is Jennifer. I am the practice manager of three busy optometric practices in North Mississippi. I have worked for these three practices for 13 years. I started in the insurance and billing department at Olive Branch Eye Care. I love insurance and billing. I know a lot of people do not, but I do love insurance and billing. I worked my way up from there to the practice manager. So I manage all three practices. Total in all, we have 25 to 30 staff if you count the doctors. And so that is my current role. And so I am enjoying being here today.
Fantastic. Thank you. Now, I know that you recently won an award, and a huge congratulations to that. What award did you win?
So I won the American Optometric Association Paraoptometric of the Year award.
Wow. And what does that mean?
So, when you work for an optometrist, you are a paraoptometric, and there are so many highly qualified paraoptometrics that work every day side by side with the doctor to help the doctor see patients during the day, to help them with their glasses. You maybe greet them at the front desk. You might do their insurance and billing on their claim. You might be the person that works the patient up. All of those are jobs within a optometry office that a paraoptometric does, and that was what the award was encompassing is trying to find somebody in the state or the nation, I guess, that they thought encompassed all those things.
Wow, that's fantastic. And again, a really well done. Now, I know that the practice that you work for works with Silkin, our company. And I'm going to be going into some questions to establish how Silkin has helped you, as well as just some tips that you have for other managers out there. So the first one is, what do you think sets you apart from other managers, or what made you really stand out?
My love for the job. I think when you love something, you want to know more about it. You bring solutions to the table, you encourage others within the job, you learn and you grow in that job. So I think really, what set me apart was I love the job. I love the people in the job, the staff, I love the patients, and I want to know more about it. And so I really devote a lot of time to being the best parametric I could be in this state.
Thank you. And what does winning this award mean to you and the practice?
To me, it's not an award about me. It's a collective team award. Nothing is done by the team. One person does not do it all. We are honored, that we all got that role. Everybody performs a specific role in our practice. And because they perform their specific role so well, it allows me to do my specific role. So we are all very honored, and we're very happy when we learned that I was going to get this award.
That's really fantastic. Now, in saying that, what is your philosophy when it comes to leading your team and creating a positive culture?
Sure. So it's very simple: leaders last and team first. A leader is the servant of the team, and she makes sure everybody on the team has the resources they need, the direction they need, and a map of how to get there. When the team gets off the road, it's the leader's job to get them back on the road, redirect them, and re energize them.
That's fantastic. And sounds like you're doing a great job at that too.
Thank you.
Now, can you share a time when your team overcame a challenge together and what you learned as a manager from that experience?
Sure. My leadership style is I live by quotes. I love quotes because they're short, they're sweet, and they teach a message. So I believe in manage your change well. Nobody likes change. So when you go to change something in your practice, it needs to be planned, tested, and explained to the staff members. So we started collecting copays at the front desk at check in instead of check out. And it was hard to get the staff on board because they give you all of the reasons of why this is not going to work out. The patients don't want to pay their copay up front, or a million reasons, and you have to get them energized to know why we're doing this. And so what we did, we developed a plan of what we were going to do when we were going to start it. Then we started making scripts of our patient conversations that we would have. When the patient asked why we were doing this is different than last time, because like I said, they were going to know everything's changed. And we implemented our plan. And then every Friday at our Friday morning meeting, we revisited our plan to see what was working and what we might need to make adjustments to. And that was 4 years ago. And now we don't have any problems. But it was a change for everybody in the office. Our staff was not used to it. Our patients were not used to it. But if you manage your change well, then that great things start to happen.
I love that. That really is a great story that really shows what it takes to implement a change and how you put together a program, manage the program, and it now is, I'm sure, a lot more viable for the practice in the end too.
Yes.
Awesome. Now, which Silken tools, systems, or courses had the greatest impact on your success as a manager?
So we did, Dr. Monroe and I did a 2-day virtual workshop with Christy, and forgive me, I cannot remember the name, but I'm sure Lauren can help me out with it. But she helped us set up all of our job duties, all of our ideal scenes, all of our products for each department and for each position within the office. You have to have a good foundation. Foundation is everything. And if you don't have a good starting foundation, then there's no reason to build anything on top of it. So that was probably the best thing and the most helpful system or class that I have taken so far, just because it set the full foundation for us and allowed us to build on everything above that. And I'd lecture a lot. And you would be surprised of how many people don't even have a foundation. And when I talk to them about, this foundation and what you need and these things, and the good news is you can revisit this foundation every year if you choose or whatever, but it's always there. It's always there for you. So I felt like that was the most beneficial class that I have taken. Lots of beneficial classes, but I like that one the most.
Awesome. Thank you. My next question is, how has Silken training helped you personally grow in your confidence and ability as a leader?
So it has given me the tools that I need to understand what helps our business grow. So there are a lot of things. We have a quarterly call with Dave, and I love Dave. He's been my consultant since, I started 13 years ago. And I feel like Dave and I have grown together. I mean, basically a decade. And so, you know, it's Silken has given us the tools to know when things are going right and trending in the right direction and when things need attention. And that is, like I said, that foundation, that's a great start, because I'm a big believer, like I said in quotes, and if you don't know where you are, you do not know where you are going to go.
That is fantastic. And that's correct. If you don't know where you are, you can't go anywhere because
Right.
you have no stability on your starting point.
Yes, you have no idea where you're going. So if you ask somebody in practice, doctors all the time, they're like, well, how do I make more money? Well, how much money are you making now? Well, I'm not really sure. Well, we need to figure that out first before we, figure out how to make more of it. Maybe you are making enough money now, you're just not collecting all of it, or you're not filing it correctly. There's a whole bunch of things that can go into it. So I think having that good foundation, or just knowing what your starting place is great.
Exactly. Now, the next question is, how has Silken's tools, systems, or courses assisted you in your position as the practice manager?
So, like I said, they give you, I have access to the Use My Stats, and I have, of course, access to Dave whenever I need him, and I do need him a lot. And so, it has given me the tools that I need in my role as the practice administrator to be able to look at the practice as a whole, and not just one practice, but 3 practices. So I can get on Use My Stats at any time during the day. I could call Dave anytime during the day, email him, and just say, I've been looking at Use My Stats and I have some questions. Can I jump on a call with you at some point? So having those resources there that you can look at, and those numbers are right there that you can dive into, that is, that is not something that everybody has. And it's not something that everybody looks at. Sometimes I tell Dave, like, he is my hold the feet to the fire, because we also get so busy during our daily lives and daily work that sometimes we might not look at those numbers as much as we should. And Dave might see something that I hadn't seen yet, and he might be like, hey, have you looked at this, and so those are tools that and resources that I definitely can't go without.
Fantastic. Now, the next one is, how does how do you see Silken continuously supporting you in the practice moving forward?
Absolutely. So Dave and I's quarterly meetings, are great. I love those, and I want to keep those up. And I want to, keep our discussions going as far as what went well and what needs improvement. And then he can make suggestions in his role and his knowledge of, hey, you might want to try these courses, or this might be an area that fits well for you. That's one thing I like about Dave, is that he just doesn't recommend something because it's out there. He recommends things that he thinks will be helpful to what I need. And, he realizes the place that I'm at and the things that I've done as far as, the courses I've taken or the education that I have in certain areas. And he can recommend based on, hey, I think this will really help you, or really help the staff member that you're, trying to train up.
Fantastic. Now, in speaking about staff and other managers, if another office manager is struggling with organization, leadership, or staff engagement, how could Silken help them in the way that it helped you?
Well, again, education is king. It just is. There's a quote. It says, the more you read, the more you know. The more you know, the smarter you grow. The smarter you grow, the stronger voice when speaking your mind or making your choice. And I believe that, education is king. And sometimes you don't know what you don't know. And it is a valuable tool to get you to the starting of the no. And so, you kind of you gotta have somebody from the outside really help you gain some control over an area, and gain some control over, like, hey, this is how we set up a system, and this is how we do this. And so those are things that are insurmountable. When you lead in an office, others watch you daily. They do. They watch you daily. So you need to do what you want them to do, you know?
I
Right.
now
And then go ahead.
continue. Go ahead and continue.
Oh yeah, and I just believe that. And so if you want if another office manager is struggling with staff engagement or anything, you are the leader, and they are going to do eventually what you do. It's a given. And Silken can help you learn how to lead from the front and not from the back.
I love that. Now, the next question that I have is, speaking of leading, is if someone felt stuck or overwhelmed in their office manager position, what advice would you share from your own journey?
Start with the basics. Start with the basics. The ideal scene. What do you want everybody to do every day, and what you want the product to be? Rome was not built in a day. You got to take it one step at a time. And sometimes you'll have to learn how to say no, or not right now. And but if you have that good foundation in there, just having the basics of having everybody with a job description, like, this is what I want you to be responsible for that day. Because oftentimes we find out that, like, I'll give you for an example, my front desk manager, and she's a manager, so, and we've trained her very, very well. But my front desk manager asked the office manager at one of my clinics the other day, she said, am I supposed to close the schedule and open the schedule for our resident doctors? And the office manager said, yes, you are. She said, well, I did not know that. And so then I was talking, because we have a team meeting, a manager meeting every Monday. So I was talking with that office manager and that manager, and I said, okay, so what's going on? And there was the manager, the front desk manager, said, I didn't know I was supposed to close the resident schedule. And I looked at the office manager. I said, well, does she have a copy of her job description? And she says, no. And I said, that might be it. So I knew she was given a copy of it at some point when she became the manager, but she did not have a copy in her. We have binders that we kind of keep most of our stuff organized in for managers. And I said, there we go. If we had had that job description, she would have seen it on there. And so the foundation is everything.
That is very true. And again, going back to job descriptions and the importance of them and referring back to them is very helpful.
Right.
Now, the last question is, for other office managers and practice owners who may be considering Silkin, what would you tell them about the difference that it can make in their practice?
Sure. And I'm going to tell basically a story that Dr. Parker told me. And he said that and I'm not anything special, so I don't want anybody, anybody, if you care enough and are educated, get your education and everything, you can do this job. You can do this job. You've just got to care and get educated. And he told me, he said, when he would leave the practice at night, he would worry that all of the jobs had not been handled. The insurance had not been filed. This has not been done. And he would worry about that when he went home. So it is the difference between going home as a doctor and worrying about, hey, am I going to be able to make payroll, or am I going to be able to have all these insurance claims filed? Did I complete all the charts completed? Are the lights off in the building? Whatever it may be, to going home and knowing those things are done. And that's the difference, because I think doctors, I'm a big component of the highest, best use of your time. If you've never heard that concept, what it means is each person should do the highest and best use of their time. A doctor's highest and best use of their time is seeing patients. That's what they went to medical school for, and they should see patients. I cannot see patients. I'm not a doctor, and you have to have other people in your staff that are trained up enough, that know enough, care enough to be able to implement the tools Silkin gives them. So when you go home at the end of the day, then you can have peace of mind that everything got done.
Fantastic. Thank you for your time. It was absolutely lovely interviewing you and seeing you again. And I absolutely loved hearing your stories, as well as how you've worked with your staff to create a really great practice environment and how important being a leader is to you. And you really do embody that. So thank you again.
Thanks, Lauren. Good to see you too.
Good to see you too.